Welcome to the Photomator Masterclass, where over the course of this series, I'm going to be showing you every single feature that Photomator has to offer. Over the course of this series, I'll be helping you level up your photography game as well as unlocking professional workflows so that you can get more done faster, all within Photomator. For those of you that are new around here, I've already started the Pixelmator Pro Masterclass. You can check that out, link in the description below. If you like this series and you want early access to each episode as it comes out, make sure that you support me either on YouTube here with the membership or over on Patreon. Also on Patreon, I'll be making additional downloads available, including the project files if you want to follow along and edit the photos with me. For today's video, we're going to be going over downloading Photomator, getting it set up so that you can either work with your photos in your Apple Photos library or configuring it to pull photos from an external drive or from the hard drive on your Mac. Now with that said, let's just jump right in. All right, so to get started, you need to download Photomator. You can start by going to pixelmator.com. For those of you curious why the URL is Pixelmator, that's the name of the company that makes Photomator. They just also happen to make a tool called Pixelmator Pro. From here, the quick and easiest way to get Photomator is just to skip right over here and click Try It for free. This will open Photomator for you in the App Store. And I've already got it downloaded, but you can just click Install right here. The one thing you'll notice, and this is a difference with Pixelmator, is that there is no upfront pricing. You can try it for free right away. Now, for those of you that are curious about pricing, you can actually just scroll down here to the bottom, and you can see here's the entire list of in-app purchases. Now, I don't know what the pricing is going to be at the time of recording, but they always offer different options for lifetime, monthly, yearly subscriptions, and it just depends on the time of year if there's a promotion running or not. Now, if you are not sure if this is the app for you, $8 for a monthly subscription is a great way to dip your toes in after you've used up that first week of a free trial. Once you have it downloaded, you can just go ahead and hit the open button, or you can navigate to Finder down here, Applications, and Photomator. Any of those will take you right to this landing screen. For those of you that are used to using Apple Photos, this is supposed to feel really familiar to you. In fact, the earlier versions of Photomator exclusively worked with your Apple Photos library, and so a lot of the design is clearly meant to be an easy transition, a direct partnership relationship with the Apple Photos app, where it supplies all the extra features that Apple Photos doesn't necessarily. One difference that I will point out here is that you might see things that are familiar to you, but there are some things that are missing as well. For example, the Apple Photos app actually has the option to view a map of all of your photos and their locations. That's a really useful way to navigate and find the photos you're looking for, especially if you're taking travel photos. But there's just some small differences. So if there's something missing that you're used to in Apple Photos, it's potentially just not there, and they've organized it in an entirely different way. Now, I am going to get into the editing tools in this video, but first, and because some of you are probably pro photographers looking to make the switch to Photomator, there is one other major difference you should be aware of. Right up here, you have this drop down that lets you switch between Apple Photos and Files. Files lets you pick photos or folders of photos anywhere on your Mac, and that can include external hard drives, which is great. So if I switch to Files, you can actually see I already have a bunch of photos already imported, and it remembers them for me. This isn't something I have to set up every time I use the app. So once you're here, you have a couple different ways of navigating the photos that are saved on your hard drive or on external drives. So I have the all files. This is all of the files that have been imported. I have my edited photos, which is the same as before, except for this is filtered down just to the photos that are on my Mac or on hard drives, not inside the Apple Photos library. I have imported, which I don't have any. And then down here, I have my folders that I've imported. Now, this particular one is from an external drive, and even though I don't have it plugged in, it remembers what the external drive is, and it'll automatically go looking for it next time I plug it in, which is great. So coming back up here to the Epson images, which are a bunch of scans that I did a few years back, you'll notice a couple really cool features. First is that I imported an entire folder full of folders full of photos, and it automatically traversed the folder tree, kept the folder structure, and allows me to navigate that way. So if you're like me and you like keeping things organized on an external drive or on your hard drive in a specific folder structure, I love the fact that Photomator keeps it organized this way for you. It's really easy to keep track of what's going on. The other really cool thing, if I come down to this folder, is that these are not copied somewhere where Photomator is managing them. They are left in place. So that means I can navigate to that folder, I can remove that folder, and it'll take it out of Photomator, or I can actually move it to the trash if I'm really trying to delete it. If I want to get it back, or if I'm trying to import some folders for the first time, I can come over here and just pick the photo library that I want, and voila, it's got the folder, it pulled everything back. And you can even see this on individual photos too. If I right click, reveal in Finder, it leaves them in place on my desktop where they were located, which is just so awesome. Now, before we hop back over and look at the editing tools, one other thing that pros might be wondering about if you're watching this is where the edits are saved, because these aren't Pixelmator documents. These aren't some special format. These are mostly just JPEGs, especially in this library, or whatever format your photos were imported as. So where are those edits stored? Now, if you look at this right here, you can see this little link icon means that there are edits linked to this photo. If I right click this and I do reveal in Finder, you can see it navigates to my photos, and you can see right here next to it, there is a Photomator editing document. So for those of you that are paying close attention, you will notice that the original actually is kept completely intact. It doesn't bother my original. It just makes a separate file full of the edits that sit side by side with it. Now we'll talk a little bit about how to keep these files small, because there are things that you can do that will dramatically increase the size of these files. But you can see in this example, the original photo is a meg, and this is 200 kilobytes. So for the most case, these edit files stay really small, but I'll teach you some tips and tricks later to make sure they do stay small. Okay, so for the pros, that's probably most of what you were looking for in this organizational screen. But I will redirect you back over here to the Pixelmator Photomator website. Is if you come over here to Roadmap, there's a couple things that I know pros are loving, and depending on when you watch this video, are missing. And so right here at the very top of their roadmap is image sorting and rating, and flagging and rejecting photos. I know for those of you that work in big batches of bulk photos, these are absolute must-haves. Don't worry, they're coming soon. And of course, I will make sure to add that on. So again, depending on when you're watching the series, I might already have the video made for it later in the series. But just wanted to call that out for the pros that are watching. Okay, let's jump back over here to the Apple Photo side. Everything I'm about to show you is the same for Apple Photos and for the files workflow in Photomator. You have a couple options here for display, so you can change the aspect ratio to be square if you like to save some space. You can change the zoom level either by pulling this backwards and forwards or by pressing Command plus and Command minus, which is great. You also have an import workflow, so if you want to pull in images directly into your Apple Photos library, that works too. We will cover this button later. You have info, which most of you probably know from Command I to get info about a particular photo, but you can also just pull up this info window, and when you click around, it'll show up that way. You have the standard share dialog. You can favorite and unfavorite, and this will send it directly to your Apple Photos library, which is great. And then you also have access to search, just like you do in Apple Photos. So from there, everything else about this UI should be familiar to you. For the items in the top bar, there's a lot of options up here, and we're not going to cover all of those today. Instead, what I will show you is that you have this option right here of going to Tools, Open Edit Tools. You can also just press Spacebar instead of selecting and going to the menu, or you can double click. When you do that, you can see that you get taken to this flow that we're going to be spending the majority of these videos in, which is this editing canvas. Now, you will notice for my particular setup, I don't have a nice Apple monitor or HDR monitor that I'm recording these videos on, so it's just giving me a little warning that Photomator does support HDR content, but this particular monitor doesn't display them. You'll also notice that I immediately get scopes down here, so if I want to look at my RGB, look at my contrast, look at my lights and darks, I've got that immediately available to me. And the moment, of course, that you've been waiting for is right here. These are all of the editing tools. Now, for those of you that are familiar with Pixelmator, this is going to look very familiar to you. And if you're not that's fine. We're going to go over all of this over the course of the videos. And so you can come in here and you can fiddle with the black point or the brightness or the contrast. And then once you're done, you just click done. And you can see it automatically updates the thumbnail. Apple requires that it asks for permission to modify the photo in your Apple Photos library, which I say yes, and then you're right back to where you started. Now, that's as deep as we're going to go on this first episode. Like I said, we're going to go through every single option in Photomator over the course of the next videos. So make sure you subscribe so that you can catch each of those videos as they come out, or support me on Patreon or with a YouTube membership if you want that early access to each of the videos as they're coming. All right, that's it for this first one. We'll catch you in the next one when we start going over all of the different editing options that Photomator has. We'll see you there.